Hello YouTube, and in this video I want to just basically talk about what I think about the Nintendo Switch. I'm on their website, so basically whatever I see or comes to mind, I'll just say what I think and basically go from there. So this is their website, nintendo.com, well, the Canadian version, and the price for the Nintendo Switch in Canada at least is $400. In America, I think it's $300. So over here, it's $100 more. And I'm not sure if I want to purchase it for $400. I would consider it at $300, but $400 seems kind of steep. But they're doing a lot of good things with it. There's a lot of things that they're doing right with the Switch, and I'll just go into that briefly. I'll go into like features. So they have like I guess you call this like the TV setup, and then they have like, I guess this is what you call play at home. Then they have like the portable setup where you get to carry it anywhere like a handheld, and then you have like the tabletop mode where you just put it on the table and play from the screen as if it was like a TV, and then you take the side controls off the device and you get to use it like a Wii remote and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So they call them the Joy-Con, these two devices here. They're called Joy-Cons. And basically think of them like a multi-dimensional controllers. So they can be used in a similar fashion like the Wii and the Wii U. Well, mostly for Wii, where they have like motion controls. So each individual Joy-Con can be like Wii remote and nunchuck kind of thing. So think of that as what the Joy-Cons are. So that's pretty cool. So here they're using it like the Wii, which is pretty cool. So now the one thing I mentioned that Nintendo does is that they always reinvent the wheel and they burn the bridges from the past generation. With this console, they potentially combine the handheld and the console generations all into one, and on top of that also included the Wii games as well. So if this controller works as I think it does, how I think it works, then the Wii games should be backwards compatible, at least with the digital versions, and that's a good thing. So therefore there's like a large library you can access right off the bat. You don't have to worry about too much of the new features or the new software. So you get up to 8 people at once. Well, LAN, like with LAN connection, you have up to 8 people, which is pretty cool. There's like online now. There's like more robust online. But for a short period, I think it's going to be free until the fall of 2017. So that's going to be interesting. So there's parental controls using your phone. I find that a little weird, but yeah, this is like the device here. So this is a touchscreen, and it's a 6.2-inch multi-touch capacitive touchscreen, and basically it's 1280 by 720. So I think that's pretty much 720p, which is not too bad. The internal memory is 32 gigabytes. With the internal memory, it reminds me more of like a handheld with console-like features, instead of like a console with handheld features. Because with 32 gigabytes, that's not really enough for much storage. Because the Wii U has about 32 gigabytes, I think. Yeah, I think the second model, the deluxe model, or the only model that you can buy right now, is basically 32 gigabytes internal memory. And some games out there, if you want to download them, are like 50 gigabytes. So when it comes to digital content, I'm not sure if this is gonna thrive as much. I guess you can have external memory, which is good, but yeah, I'm not sure how digital games are gonna be on this console. So That'll be interesting. I don't see. Oh no, I don't see like a memory card slot, but there must be one. So yeah, I don't see a memory card slot. I'm pretty sure there is one, but I don't see one here pointed out. And the back here, this is the back. Oh, here we go. Micro SD card slot. So it's right here. So you get to expand the memory, but I'm not sure if it's good for digital content. So it has a docking station. So this is pretty cool. So when you want to play your games off the TV, it has this docking station that has the AC adapter port, USB port, and the HDMI port. And this thing opens up. You put the connectors in, you close it back up, and the wires just come out with a little hole. And that's how it looks like when it's closed. That's pretty cool. This is the Joy-Con controller. Basic controls. So like the directional pad or like buttons, because when you separate the Joy-Cons for like various types of games, you can actually have each Joy-Con a controller, which is pretty cool. And there's a home button and there's a capture button, which is pretty cool. This is what the back looks like. I call this part the bottom, to tell you the truth, and I call this part the top, but that's just me. So they have a sync button. So this part here, these are buttons. So when you hold them as controllers, each individual Joy-Con as controllers, these here are buttons you can use. And with the straps, they help, or they sort of like isolate those buttons better. So when you have like the Joy strap or the Joy-Con strap, those buttons are more easily accessed. So these are the buttons here, and then the Joy-Con strap emphasizes the buttons a little bit better. And this is the Joy-Con grip, which is pretty cool. This is the back. So basically this is like the Pro controller. What else can I talk about? Online services. So the free trial starts in March, and then the paid service launches in fall of 2017. There will be online lobbies and voice chat, monthly game downloads. And the thing to point out here is that subscribers will get a download and play a Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, or Super NES game with newly added online play for free for a month. So it looks like you get games with your service, but only accessible within a month. And I'm not sure if it's automatic or you have to download it, because with the other services you have to download the games as they come free, but you keep them as long as you're subscribed to the service. But with Xbox One, with the Xbox 360 games, you get to keep them forever despite your subscription, but you acquire them through the subscription. But here it seems like no matter what games you get, they're only available for the month. And there's also exclusive deals. And here, of course, when you pay for the online, you get online gameplay, online lobbies, and voice chat app. So I'm guessing this is from your phone, which is odd. I'm assuming there'll be an app inside the UI, like something accessible within the UI of the device. There's monthly game downloads, which is only for a month, then they expire, what it seems like. Exclusive deals, and that's about it. You can access the eShop no matter what, whether you subscribe or not. You can register and manage friends, share screenshots to social media, and access Nintendo Switch parental controls app. The social features I find a little weird, because Nintendo kind of shuts down people who want to share their stuff on YouTube right now. So if someone posts, like a famous YouTuber posts something with a Nintendo console, they tend to shut down or demonetize that video and take all the revenue. I'm not into that part of YouTube, But Nintendo seems to be antisocial, so I find that funny that they have that there. So I wonder if people share it to YouTube, will they be content? Will they have like content IDs all over their video where they can't really get any revenue from that video because it has Nintendo content on it? So the family fun section here, this is what they're advertising, how you can play certain games with your friends and families and whatnot. The 1-2 Switch game, I think this is a launch game. This game seems a little weird, but basically you play this playing in front of a person. You don't look at the screen, you look at the person. And it didn't really demonstrate what you do exactly. Most of the stuff they advertise with the Nintendo Switch is through adverts, which kind of idealize the features and games. So there was no demonstration of the console. It was just a lot of videos of highlights of the console. So to tell you the truth, I have no idea what this game is. Like, they show two people like at a standoff and ready to shoot each other, but they didn't see the UI of anything. There was no interface of whatsoever. They only showed people playing on the console, but snippets of it where it's not the full experience or like the full end user experience of interacting with each individual games or how they load it up or anything. It's just your typical idealized adverts. So that's that. There's ARMS. This game doesn't seem to be too deep, but I'll see what happens when this game's launched. But you're basically in an arena, and each individual has the same kind of advantages and disadvantages. So it seems more like your basic fighting game, almost like Connect Fighters or something. I forgot what that game's called, but I think it's called Connect Fighters or something, or that Xbox One Connect game where you fight, and it's very basic. It's very similar to that, but I could be wrong. There's Mario Kart Deluxe. There's Snipper Clips. And let's see all the Switch games. There's Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I noticed with this one they have voiceovers, but the thing with Nintendo, they tend to have detached franchises within the IP, like detached installments. So like they'll have, let's say for example, Zelda Skyward Sword will have a completely independent story from Zelda the Breath of the Wild. None of them connect to each other, and they all have the same setup. It's almost like rebooting every time with each game. So it would be nice if Nintendo started a lore and had a consistency and had sequels within that franchise or IP. So with the Mario games, it would be nice if you had an understanding of the Mushroom Kingdom, instead of having a different adaptation with each game, not connecting to each other. It adds more depth to the franchises, and it creates more investment. When you detach each installment, you can't really get too attached to the story or what's going on because it's independent. It's all segregated. You want it to have like a cohesive, comprehensive storyline or lore, and Nintendo franchises don't do that. So it's interesting to have so much work put into this game, and it's most likely going to just be abstract and independent from all the other Zelda games, which is disappointing, but that's the way Nintendo works. This is the ARMS game, 1-2 Switch, Splatoon 2, which basically looks like the same game, but with more features. Haven't seen this yet. FIFA, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim. I haven't seen this one being played. I don't think so. There's Minecraft, Star Street Fighter 2 Ultra, The Final Challengers, Just Dance 2017, Has Been Heroes. I guess that's all they have listed. And what else can I go through? Nintendo Switch, English, features. I think I went through this. Online services, events. I'm in Toronto, so I want to see if I can attend this. This is on a Sunday, January 29th, 2017, to get my hands on with the device, which is pretty cool. But overall, hold on, let me see what they have here. So the Pro controller, or Switch Pro controller, it's $90. The Joy-Con controllers are $100. Each individual Joy-Con controller is $65, and the Joy-Con grip is $40. And I guess this comes with the charging station. Oh, I guess this just comes together. And Joy-Con wheels, set of 2, is $20. So, the overall Nintendo Switch, it seems to be pretty cool. I'm just wondering if this is gonna revitalize the PlayStation Vita, because basically, people said, I've seen many people talk about PlayStation Vita and how it's too much like a console, and you don't want a console experience on the handheld. And then Nintendo Switch comes out, and they have features similar to a console, but people are not saying that it's a bad thing. So I think when it comes to handhelds being like a console, it's more about presentation and image and how you convey your device and what direction it goes. So I just find it interesting that Nintendo's Switch is very similar to a PlayStation Vita, but on steroids, and it's trying to combine the console market and the handheld market. And the one thing that many people will talk about with the PlayStation Vita is that it's too much like a console. I don't want a console on the go. But then the main feature of the Nintendo Switch is that it's like a console on the go. If you want to play on your TV, you can. You want to play on the go, you can. You don't sacrifice the graphics for that. But yeah. There's also the Mario game, Mario, what do you call it? Odyssey, I think. That was pretty cool. It's kind of like hyper realism. What I mean by hyper realism, I mean like, think of it like basically cartoon characters in a live action environment. So this is the Mario game. So it's like realistic graphics in the background, while Mario himself, is basically how he always is. This is what I consider hyper realism. And as a kid, I always wanted to see this. I always wanted this in a video game. But for some reason, my generation doesn't like this. I don't know why, but they don't. But to me, I find this really cool. As a kid, I would be so blown away, because I consider this hyper realism. I was so into hyper realism back in the day because of art. I wasn't so much of an artist, but I admire art in a sense. So when there's hyper realism, it's almost like, the best way I can describe it, I could be wrong, but it's basically it's almost like, I guess my description of it off the top of my head, without even looking it up or refreshing my memory, I considered hyperrealism basically having almost like cartoony or abstract, or how do I describe it? Like, I guess like a realistic cartoon where, say for example, the jumpsuit that Mario has will have like almost realistic fabric, while his skin is similar to like a cartoon. So there's certain aspects to the character where it's hyper realism, where it looks real, but then it's not, maybe like the dimensions aren't as accurate as if it was to be in real life. So they sort of maintain their integrity, but in an unnatural environment for that aesthetic. So you basically combine two aesthetics and create a hyper realism where it's like it looks realistic, but the proportions and whatnot, or the aesthetics don't match the environment, or the proportions at the, I guess, building or whatever you're drawing, what the focal point is. And I always wanted that in the game. And Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Odyssey has that. And I find a lot of people don't like that, which I find strange, but I find that cool. I always wanted like a hyper realism kind of thing where the aesthetics was like mixed in with another type of aesthetics, meaning like realism versus cartoon. Kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I find that pretty cool. Even though it's two-dimensional cartoons, it would be nice to have three-dimensional cartoons in a hyper-realism kind of way. It's kind of hard to describe. I guess Cars 3 would be that example. Cars 3 would be hyper-realism. That's what I consider hyper-realism. But I think in the art sector, it's considered something else. But I consider Cars 3 in the trailer hyper-realism. It's almost like taking realistic aspects of our aesthetics or real life aesthetics and applying it to our cartoony like aesthetics and combining the two aesthetics direction or design into one. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. Not sure if that even makes any sense, but yeah, I like the look of the Mario game. And there's Xenoblade 2. Honestly, I haven't played 1. I only have Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I barely even played that game. So I think this one's a sequel to the Wii game, while the Wii U game is independent, from my understanding. Or it could be another storyline within that universe, like Final Fantasy. But here's the ARMS game. I know like everywhere it's not consistent. This is just off the cuff kind of thing as I'm going through the website. So let me go to the gameplay. So this is the gameplay. It seems like arena thing, arena based. I like how it's 3-dimensional. You get to move around in the 3D space, or it could be 2-dimensional. I'm not sure if you can move back, forward, or backward. But it seems like the characters they both have advantages and disadvantages, and the only depth to the game would be how you play, and not so much what characters you play with or you play as. So that's what I mean by it's kind of basic. And it's similar to almost like a tech demo from what I've seen, and see how it's very advertised, like glorified advertisement, where you're not seeing people just playing the game. You're just seeing it in snippets of it, and it's stylized, and not stylized, but like it's made to look really pretty, or made to be attractive, more attractive than when it really is when playing. So you're seeing different camera angles that you probably wouldn't see when you're playing. So like kind of like that kind of thing. And this is like the 1-2 switch. They don't really show any gameplay of what's on the screen. Again, this is like I don't know, it's like it's overly emphasized, like not emphasized, but everything that they show is through an advertisement kind of point of view. So obviously when you're playing the game, you're not in the desert, but when you're showing the game like this, it's not in its raw state, and it would be better if you demonstrate the game in its raw state. Advertisements like this doesn't show a true representation of what the game is. Like, what are they doing? Again, why would you dress up like that? Obviously, you don't do that when you're playing the game, so it'd be nice to see what the game actually is. So when I see stuff like this, it makes me think, let me turn down the music. It makes me think that they're not ready. Why would you show off your game like this? Again, like, what are they doing? What are they hitting? How do they know how to hit? Where to hit? Like, when to hit? Like, again, what are they doing? I don't get it. I should turn off the volume. So yeah, like, stuff like this, I don't get why they advertise their games like this, because it's not a true representation. It's not a demo. It's an advert. And adverts are supposed to make something more attractive than it really is. It glorifies the experience to a point where it's not true to the experience. And why do they do that? Like, I don't get that. You want a demonstration of people playing the game. Here, this is better, but still, it's glorifying the experience. You're not going to be seeing these camera angles when you're playing, so it's glorifying the experience. When I see an announcement of a console, I want raw footage, like raw demonstrations. I don't want a glamorized experience, because if it's not true to the experience, and I haven't seen the console yet, to me it makes me think that the console's not ready, or the raw experience is not as appealing as they would be if you saw the raw experience live. So to me, it's disconcerting when I see this, because it's glamorizing the experience. What else can I show you? I'll show Splatoon 2. Again, you're probably not going to see the game in this fashion, but overall you can get the point of the game. But still, it looks very similar to what the last Splatoon was. Just that they probably have more features and more ways to use splatter ink. Again, it's glorifying the experience more than what it really is. And I don't like that kind of presentation style, especially with an announcement console, or with an announcement of a console or new hardware. So I don't like adverts to demonstrate a console's experience. I can understand you want to demonstrate features through adverts maybe before the announcement, but the announcement event, it should be all raw footage. And yeah, they don't really do that. And here's another game, all cinematics. Okay, this one doesn't have any gameplay in this particular video. I think this game did have gameplay, I'm not sure. But I'll play this one. I think this is a launch title. So they showed off a trailer of this. Again, it's glamorizing the experience. When you're playing the game, you're probably not going to see these camera angles. You're not going to see the action in a particular angle. I want when you see an announcement like this, you want raw footage. This is better. It's getting better. See, this is better. This is good here. It's probably cinematic. So this one is a little bit truer to what you expect, but it's still glamorizing the experience. And I want like more raw footage, especially with a demonstration of new hardware. Because to me, it makes it look like it's not ready. Why are you glamorizing the experience if the hardware is ready? You want to see how the hardware works. And they don't really do that. So, I'm not sure what else I can say about the console. But it's interesting. I find it interesting in the sense that the PlayStation Vita didn't sell well. And Nintendo Switch is in the same direction as the PlayStation Vita, but taking it a step further. So it would be interesting whether people gravitate to this and try to decipher out why this is more appealing than the PlayStation Vita. It would be really interesting because once it's launched, I can dissect it with on a design point of view and see why something is more popular than the other when they're in the same direction. They're going in the same direction. So that's about it I can say about the console. Let's see presentation. See what they had in here. I know this is like everywhere. It's not organized. So here they're talking about the prices. Here they're talking about the combination of all the generations into one console, which is good. This is better. See how you see what the character and user sees? This is a better experience. This is not better experience, but like a better representation of what you should be expecting. What else can I talk about? So they demonstrated HD rumble. So you'd be able to tell the difference between, like, let's say for example, they spoke about a glass with ice inside it. You'd be able to tell the difference between 2 ice cubes in the glass or 3. To me, rumble is not a big feature for me. It's nice to have, but it's not a make or break thing. And having HD rumble is not a selling point for me. Because all you're doing is just shaking the controller's just shaking on its own. It's vibrating. It's a rumble. That's it. So they talk about 1-2 switch and that you don't need the screen to play. So like, how do you know how? I don't get that game. To me, 1-2 switch wasn't really demonstrated or explained well because I don't get how you know what to play, how you know what to do if you don't look at a screen. So obviously you're looking at a screen at some point. Like how you set up the game, how do you end the game, how you know who wins, how you know who doesn't win. So you're obviously looking at a screen at some point. Like I don't get it. I may be thinking about it too hard, but I just don't get that game. I would have to see it for myself. And I bet you $1 million are probably looking at a screen. But I'll just leave it as that. They're talking about Splatoon 2 here. This is Mario. The Mario game was a better representation of your experience, because Mario games tend, well, a true 3D Mario game is usually in third person. So this is more representation of what you should be expecting when playing. So it's more raw. So this makes me think that the Mario game is more developed than the other games that have more advertisement, like glorified experiences in the advertisements. To me, this game seems to be more developed than all the other games because it's more raw. The more raw I see the gameplay in the trailer, the more I believe that the particular software is close to being done or has some kind of form of gameplay finished. So there's like Xenoblade 2. I think I just missed it. Here's a lot of cutscenes. Again, it just makes me think that it's not that finished, or it's not finished, like not much there, or they just chose not to show gameplay. Again, when you do that, especially with an announcement console or gaming device, you want demonstrations. But yeah, that's just me. I could be the only one that thinks that way, because I do think differently. Cinematics. Again, it's nice to see, but an announcement, I'd rather have raw gameplay. Like demonstrations. I can understand some of them need to have a glorified adverts, but you need to demonstrate something. Here's Skyrim. There's FIFA. they talk about it. I don't think they ever showed it. And there's a couple of games that they have in a compilation, I think. Again, 1-2 switch. I don't get that game. If you're not looking at a screen, how do you set it up? And when you are setting it up, how do you know who wins? Like, to me, it's like it's inevitable to not look at a screen. I don't get it. But again, I was probably just thinking about it too much. I think the presentation is in the wrong direction because, so for someone who can't experience the console for themselves, they're going to be really put off at whether or not it's worth your money, especially since it's $400 Canadian. I think that's the same price. Is that the same price as you can get an PlayStation 4 bundle less with more content. But let me just quickly look at the consoles. I think the Pro is $500 Canadian. Let's click buy now. So the Pro, let's see what the Pro is. Available now. Let's buy now. So the Pro on Amazon is 500 Canadian, 500 in Best Buy. So it looks like 500 across the board. So $100 less, you're getting a Switch. Let's see what the Xbox offers. Let's see the 2 terabyte. I guess this one's $550. So I guess the draw here, it's more of a handheld with console-like features. So again, this is like the PlayStation Vita, but on steroids. You're basically taking the console on the go. And yeah, that'll be the draw to it. It's the convenience of having your games portable. Your console like gameplay portable. And yeah, sorry for the video being so messed up. Kind of sick, tired, just came home from work. But yeah, the 1-2 switch, throwing in an impromptu party anywhere with anyone thanks to a new play style in which players look at each other, not the screen. Bring back the action and fun into the real world as you face off in Wild West duels, cow milking competitions, and a copycat dance-off, and more. Impromptu party anywhere with anyone thanks to a new playstyle. I don't know. I guess that's all I can say. I think the idea is cool because I'm a PlayStation Vita fan. But I think the docking station is pretty cool. I remember the PSP had a port so you can play on your TV. And again, also I think PlayStation Vita has the PlayStation TV device where you get to play your PlayStation Vita games on your TV, but you can't use your console itself, the PlayStation Vita console, to dock on a station. So again, it's like PlayStation Vita on steroids, basically. It would be really interesting to see if this booms, because if this booms, it can potentially revitalize the PlayStation Vita, because this is basically a PlayStation Vita on steroids. It's a console on the go. I think they're selling it as a console with handheld features, but due to the memory capacity, I would say this is more of a handheld with console-like features. So basically, a PlayStation Vita on steroids. I think that's about it. I can't really... Let's see the pre-orders. So there's 2 different consoles. There's the one with the Joy-Con blue and red. That's $400. and this one 400. If I ever do get one, it would most likely be this one, not this one. And yeah, that's basically I can talk about. You can just go on the website to see what they have here, but I want to go to this event if I can. And yeah, it's on Front Street. We're located in Metro Toronto Convention Center, Hall A, 255 Front Street West, Toronto. Yeah, I think I briefly talked about everything about the console. So you get to slide the Joy-Cons onto the Joy Grip. This is the Wii motion kind of like controls with the Nintendo Switch. Again here, Wii motion controls on the Nintendo Switch playing arms, or whatever you say. I do like the fact that you get to link up 8 consoles at once, which is pretty cool. Again, it's like a handheld thing. I'm not sure how many Vitas you can hook up together, LAN, but 8 is pretty awesome. That's like a party right there. But yeah, the screen is a decent size. I'm not sure how big the Wii U screen is. Let's see if I can find one. Built-in software. What is the Wii U? Maybe I should have picked up the features. Let's look at the specs quickly. So it's 6.2 inch touchscreen. So it's the same screen size as the Wii U controller. So basically it looks like they took the Wii U controller and redesigned it and made that as the console itself. So they have a home button. Well, I went through this with my other review, like my other videos, but it basically looks like a Wii U controller as a console with the Nintendo Switch. So hopefully that's not confusing with people, but I think that's all I can say. It's an interesting console. I like the directions they're going in, but Nintendo consoles tend to not be the problem. It's how they manage their consoles. But I do want to mention that it's region free, which is pretty cool. But overall, if I want to end the video, generally the problem with Nintendo is not their consoles or gaming devices. It's how they manage their gaming devices that tends to be the problem with Nintendo. So it's never usually the console itself that sucks. Like the Wii U is a good console, but it's just the way they managed the Wii U made it not sell. Again, Wii U is a good console, but it's the way Nintendo manages their gaming division makes it really poor. So here it looks like they're in the right direction, but I'm more worried about how Nintendo handles their console. It's just how they manage their console and how they structure the policies and software is what makes the consoles not sell. But the console itself is usually a good device. It's just how they basically manage it. I don't make the video too long, but yeah, it's an interesting console. Hopefully I get the hands on because I'm working that day, but hopefully I get to go. I want to go. It's interesting because I like the PlayStation Vita, and this is like Wii U gamepad as a gaming device, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that will be it for my impressions of the Nintendo Switch.